Hello, hello. Hi, everyone. We're just going to wait one more minute to start and let more people join in on the webinar. Okay, good afternoon and good evening, everyone. My name is Julia Wong. I'm the Marketing Director for Wild Women Expeditions, and I'll be your host for this evening. Before we begin, I'd like to start with a land acknowledgement. And I'd like to acknowledge that as a Canadian company, we are thankful for the opportunity to create, collaborate, play, and work on these lands which are known today as Canada. From coast to coast to coast, we acknowledge the ancestral and unceded territories of all of the Inuit, Métis, and First Nations people that call this land home. So tonight we have two panelists with us. We have Franny Bergschneider, our Global Programs and Operations Manager and Polar Expert, as well as Marissa Dalatalis, who is also our Polar Expert. Let them say hello.
Hello, I'm Franny Bergschneider. I hail from Toronto, Canada at the moment. And as Julia said, I'm the Global Program and Operations Manager, but I also am the Polar Expert here in-house. I spent about 7 years working in the polar regions, and I've been to Antarctica over 80 times. So I'm excited to chat with you guys about some of the nitty-gritty details and share a few stories with you as we talk about Antarctica and the polar regions.
Hey, and yeah, I'm Marissa, and I too am a polar guide and polar expert, and I'm actually in Ushuaia right now in between ship trips. And so, as you may know, Ushuaia is at the end of the world, and it'll be where you will embark on your ship to head over on into Antarctica. And I'm excited to be here and tell you, share some stories as well, and maybe hope to meet you guys one day.
So as we go along tonight, if you have any questions, please put your questions in the Q&A box and we'll get to them either as they come up and it's the same topic that we're talking about, or we will hold them till the end and I'll have both Marissa and Franny answer all of your questions. If you have to drop off, this meeting is being recorded, so you will be sent the recording afterwards, so don't worry about that. And if we don't get to any of the questions that you have put through, please note that we will email and or contact you afterwards with answers. So to begin, we're really excited to let everyone know that as of November 2024, we will be departing on the Ocean Explorer. So originally it was the Ocean Adventure, but we have now been upgraded to this beautiful new ship. A couple of interesting features about this ship. You'll see at the very front of the bow, it's the Ulstein X bow. I believe right in front there is the library on the top of that, but it's a beautiful panoramic view from the ship, and you'll be able to have unobstructed views of everything. This ship is for 138 guests with 105 staff and crew. Generally, we'll have a wild women group of between 10 to 40 wild women on the ship. So it is a beautiful ship. It's well appointed, and we'll go through some of the new features that you'll be able to experience. So this is the observation deck and I believe skybar, as they call it. So something just beautifully made, beautifully decorated, a beautiful place that you'll be able to enjoy and look out and watch all of the animals and wildlife and landscape go by. There is a jacuzzi and dry sauna that you can also enjoy on your downtime. And this is the Polar Presentation Lounge. Very beautifully appointed, and you'll be able to have all of your lectures here from all of the experts on board, scientists, ornithologists, biologists, glaciologists, marine biologists. I can go on and on, but I believe our polar experts will also talk about that later. This is the dining room and the lounge bar. So another place that you'll be able to enjoy your meals and downtime with your fellow wild women. And this is the grand veranda stateroom. So this is the one photo that we have right now. More are coming, but we can tell you is that on all of the cabins on the ship, except with the exception of the studio cabins, they all have verandas. So you would have you would be sharing with one other wild woman, and you would have your own balcony. And as you can see in this photo, this is obviously a double queen bed right now, but they are made up of two twin beds that are pushed together. So for our departure specifically, the beds will be pushed apart. We'll have you know, a night table in between, so you'll have your own bed. But this is a beautiful suite that you can enjoy, and this is what you can expect.
Thanks,
I'll
Julia.
hand it over to Franny.
Yeah, thank you. I wanted to share with you our itineraries that we're running in 2024 and 2025. So we're running the Falkland Islands, South Georgia, and Antarctica Explorers and Kings expedition. And we have one expedition this year on November 4th to November 23rd. And we have another expedition, which is the same itinerary running in 2025, November 13th to December 2nd. And I'll hand it over to Marissa to tell you a little bit about this trip.
Yeah, this was the trip I hosted earlier in just this past December, and it was absolutely amazing. It was beautiful. As you can see on the map, there will be stopping by and visiting the Falkland Islands, South Georgia, as well as Antarctica. So it's like a major trifecta of trips. It's super epic. Our first stop will be in the Falkland Islands, and right away you'll see all sorts of wildlife, from albatrosses to penguins, and you'll be visiting them up close. And it's incredibly transformative as to how close you'll see the nests. Typically, this is a beautiful rock hopper. You'll see them all in their own elements, doing their thing. Sometimes they might be picking rocks and building nests, especially at that time of year. So it's an amazing time not to miss. Actually, it's beautiful. And then you'll see more wildlife. You'll see potentially seals, and you'll be hiking along within grounds. So you'll go from beaches to highland. So you'll have a variety of natural elements where you will see them in their own environment. So it's an astounding thing to witness and be a part of, for sure. And then, yeah, we've got some seals and these little seal pups. Oh, yeah.
We'll be more likely to see in South Georgia.
Yeah. Oh, right. And then, yeah, so this is South Georgia, as well as the elephant seal. So South Georgia, so once you go from Falklands to South Georgia, you'll have about, I think it's a 2-day cruise to South Georgia, which is really like the Galapagos of the South, I'd say, where it is covered in wildlife. And when I say covered, I mean like you'll see it on the beaches, you'll see it in the hills and throughout the look at this right here. You've got sorry, can you back up for 1 second? You'll have these moments where it'll just stop you in your tracks because you're watching these king penguins just doing their thing. You'll hear their calls. You'll just be amazed and transfixed and just mind blown that you're actually there. It's such a National Geographic moment. For all of us, it's like happy tears. And then even that previous picture before, when you see the elephant seals, you'll hear them. And I have to say, and it's all good, it's going to be mindful moments, you'll remember it, but you'll smell them. It's all part of the package and just really being there. And also with South Georgia, so throughout your sessions on the ship each day, and you've got your excursions, but as Julia mentioned, you'll also have these presentations from our lecturers. So for example, they'll give you these stories of Shackleton, and there's a photo coming up where we're in a cave, and that is where Shackleton's men first landed, or one of the places they landed, and they had to fix this rudder. So you're hearing the story unfold, and you're following their tracks. So it's very cool on so many levels. It's history, it's wildlife, and it's the national, or it's such a, the landscape is just mind blowing. And then we'll also go on Zodiac cruises, where again we'll see more wildlife. You'll see geology, and you'll hear the lecturers tell us what we're looking at as well, whether it's on ship or on the Zodiac. Oh yeah, and we'll have, oh, see, and it's fun. So you also have, this is Franny, by the way. This is what our guides will be doing. Well, they'll be picking up and talking about, what you're seeing. So here's some seaweed. She's having a little fun there.
My favorite lesson is the kelp lesson.
Yeah. Yeah, because they're everywhere. And then again, like when you're in these zodiacs, just one of our memorable moments, and it's super rare, when we saw a leopard seal, and he was so curious, and he just kept coming around to, we felt like we had the magic zodiac ride, because just kept following us for a long time. And yeah, we felt very fortunate that we got to witness this beautiful leopard seal just checking us out. And we know how we had to be safe as well, and but we were respecting the distance. And yeah, it was very, very cool. And then after South Georgia, here we are. We are in Antarctica. You can see we're just surrounded by snow, glaciers, icebergs, and that's a portion of our group there, where we touched down on the continental mainland of Antarctica. So of course we had to celebrate with a photo. We had several photos together because we were all in bliss, as you can see from the big smiles. And yeah, that's and again, even in Antarctica, there's more wildlife. There's wildlife in every place you look, but it's like that seventh continent that everyone was celebrating and just couldn't believe we were finally there in all places. Yeah. Oh, these are chicks. Could be, yeah, this is still in Antarctica, it looks like. And so we've got gentoo penguins and chicks. Oh, so cute. And then at that time, yeah, we could see chicks, and we'll see eggs for sure, usually in November. Oh my gosh, this is a chin strap. So you'll see this cutie guy, and you'll start to recognize the calls. So again, you'll hear the lecturers giving you, I mean, us guides, we can tell you some tidbits too when we're on the Zodiac, or for hiking on land. A little bit about everything that you see, including these cuties. And you'll start to maybe understand and get to know their personalities and start recognizing their calls as well. And so you look at this, like everywhere you look, it's whether it's a bright blue sky or moody like this, it's just super beautiful. This is a leopard seal underwater. So you can even see the color of the water. Look how clear that is. And then we've got, humpback whales. And you can see there's a zodiac in the background there, and they can come up at any time. And sometimes you'll hear them first. Sometimes you'll see the blow, and you'll potentially see more than one. Actually, on one of the recent trips I was on, we saw humpback whales, two double breaching. It was incredible. Like you never know what you're going to see. So it's always good to be out on deck, because really that's where you're going to see any activity and wildlife outside. So yeah, these gentle giants, and you might see more than one kind of whale. Like you might even see orcas. You might see orcas with whales. But yeah, they are just absolutely beautiful. You might see fin whales, especially if we go by yeah, if going by Elephant Island, maybe. There's so many different, and again, so I should specify or emphasize that these trips are expeditions, and so nothing is guaranteed. I might be mentioning all these wildlife you might be seeing, or these certain potential landings, but anything can happen out there. So it's all dependent on the conditions, whether there's ice, whether there's wind. So anything with the wind and the weather and what the ship and the captain is comfortable sailing in, it all dictates where to go and what we may see, or we might find out there's a better surprise around the corner. So again, you can see, yeah, these glaciers here, Zodiac cruising, and yeah, so here we're Zodiac cruising and going by a penguin colony. Can't quite see which ones these are, but yeah, and you can see penguin
They're
highways. Are they gentoos?
I think so.
Can't see that far. My eyes are.
The David Bowie of the penguin species. They have that white eyeshadow and the coral bill, the coral lipstick.
You can see that? Okay, yeah. I would love that. They David Bowie. Yeah, and you can see them. Ah, there is giant icebergs. We're just enjoying. You can see penguins in the background on that iceberg, and it's fun just watching them, enjoying their time on there. We always think of them having like little waterfront properties, but if they're jumping up on the icebergs, or if they're jumping in, that's always a treat to see. You're just watching them in their daily, everyday lives. It's just mind-blowing. Oh, and this is the Antarctica too, that we I hope everyone can experience, because when you see sea ice, and this is Antarctica, just when you see the climate affecting the water and sea ice forming on that water because of the temps and how it affects the size of Antarctica. I'm not going to give it all away, but yeah, you have to come see it for yourself, and how we navigate and sail through the sea ice and these coming up along icebergs. And sometimes you'll go through some narrow channels like 1,000 feet high, whether it's I don't know, the Lemaire or something. It's just, and it's only, I think, what, 600 meters, 600, yeah, wide. It's just stunning to see. So here you see the landscape of the sea ice, and you can hear it. Yeah. And here, oh, sorry, back at that photo there, they opened up the bow so you can get a real cool look at the front of the ship here. Okay, sorry, next one. Yeah, again, here, like, this is where you'll just be wowed at the silence and pristine. And this is where you start to, like, seeing the wildlife is amazing and magnificent, but so is this, because then this is where you want to protect, and you'll start to understand why Antarctica is so important to respect and protect, really, because it's a one-of-a-kind place, source of our water. Yeah. We had many silent moments just out on deck or in the Zodiac, just in awe of all this. And you can't see it here, but sometimes you'll see lenticular clouds. So keep an eye out ahead too. And it's always, if you can, wake up early in the morning. Well, it depends what time. Oh, actually, do we have, what time is the sunrise in November? I can't even remember. Do you remember, Fanny?
Very early. I think at the sun's
Oh, is this when it's later? I'm getting
right.
confused with now.
Yeah.
So I think it hardly sets around.
But I think it's still light all the time.
Yeah.
Like,
So
even
it
when the
doesn't,
sun sets, it's still very dusky.
yeah, so it doesn't
Yeah.
get pitch
It never
black.
gets dark.
Yeah. So that's cool to experience and just stay up and just watch for it once in a while. And then let's see, I think the next photo we're hiking again. And of course we had to take another photo with our whole group here with Quark. Yeah. They were a great outfit, a great company to work with. The guides and everything was, they were great. And you can see how happy we all were.
Wonderful. What a great shot.
Yeah.
Thanks, Marissa. I wanted to take a moment to chat a little bit about why I travel with Wild Women. we we love travel, of course, and one of the greatest things, and the reason I love Wild Women, and a lot of the women I talk to love Wild Women, is the community that you become a part of when you go on a Wild Women trip. So we have a huge Facebook group that everyone stays connected by, and once you're on a trip, there's really no experience like it. When you meet the women on the trip, it's like like-minded people come together, and it's almost as if you've known each other forever. We also support the women in the countries that we visit. We're in every continent now, and we're also a women-owned and led company, so we love that. And I wanted to chat a little bit about why travel with Wild Women in Antarctica. And that is because you can join a smaller group of women. So as Julia mentioned, it's anywhere from 10 to 40. The trip that Marissa was just on, I think it was about 10 or 11 women. And what a great kind of, you have access to this instant group of women.
And we're all still friends, and we all still chat.
Amazing.
Yeah.
That's so wonderful. And while you're on the expedition together, you will be facilitated by a Wild Woman host. So for example, Marissa was just a Wild Woman host. They are kind of like your personal the mother goose, if you will. They can help you answer questions and really kind of facilitate an experience, like an extraordinary experience above and beyond what's already delivered, which is an amazing experience to start with. But just that extra facilitation and group cohesion goes a long way. They meet you in Ushuaia as well before you board the ship. And then on board, you'll also have Wild Women exclusive Zodiac cruises. So your own Zodiac here. This is my friend Tara driving. She's a one of a kind kayaker. And you'll have these Zodiac cruises. You'll also have, we've arranged so that there's always Wild Women only seating in the dining room for all meals. And we find this really helps to bring the group together, because when you're out on the land, you're not always necessarily in a group. You can have freedom and flexibility to move around and experience different things. But then we love coming back together after an experience, really debriefing that experience. We find the debrief and the connection that you get speaking about it really gives it meaning. And if you're like me and you're an introvert, then what you'll love is coming together and meeting women, but then instead of re-meeting 100 people, you really get to kind of form a close bond with these 10 women or however many women are on the ship. And you go from the small talk conversations, you can really get into like heart-led conversations and talk about what you've experienced and your lives at home. And really, it's a really nice bond that, as Marissa said, can last beyond the trip itself.
Hey, polar plunge.
Polar plunge. I also wanted to mention that yes, there is a Wild Women reception as well. So some exclusive programming opportunities, and we might be able to facilitate some exclusive presentations or yoga classes. It depends what's happening on the ship, but the host will always try to work their best magic. And then as Marissa got so excited for, I get so excited for it too, the polar plunge. If you're excited, if you love cold plunging, you'll want to bring your bathing suit and won't want to miss this. And if you're not a cold plunger, well, we always say it's better to regret doing it than to regret not doing it.
Yeah.
It's quite an experience. You'll feel reborn once you do it. So we totally recommend it. And here is that you, Marissa? Jumping off the Zodiac? Wonderful.
Yep.
I love that. Starfish jump. And you'll get a little badge as well if you jump into the water.
It's refreshing.
It is so refreshing. What I love doing is is jumping in, and then it's an instant shock. You feel like you need to, your fight or flight response kicks in, and you need to get the heck out of the water. But if you can just take a breath and
Yes.
pause and sort of let your nervous system relax in that cold water, you can really just have a whole other experience. So
Yeah.
really recommend
And look
trying that.
around. Look
Exactly.
around.
Take a breath. You have to fight all your instincts, but it's worth it. Yeah.
Well said.
This is a picture of some of the expedition staff you can meet. So on every landing, they're catching zodiacs, helping you in and out of the zodiacs. They're on land, telling you and teaching you about what you're seeing, interpreting the wildlife and the landscape, and really facilitating safety. And as Julia and Marissa both mentioned, there's specialists on board, and they'll be talking to you on the land and in zodiacs, but they've arranged for there to be an onboard scientific program. So there's different presentations that kind of go along with the arc of the voyage. And you'll learn about penguins and whales. There's lectures from ornithologists. They'll be speaking to the birds that you'll be seeing and learning about. And there's a marine biologist, so they'll be speaking to you about the whales and the seals that you might be seeing, among other things. And there's always a glaciologist on board, glaciologist and geologist, as well as a historian. So these types of lectures will be feathered into the voyage, as well as some extras. And at the end of every day, you'll meet just before dinner for something called recap and briefing. And that's where everyone gathers together, kind of like as a big group debrief. You'll talk about things that you've seen from the day and learn about what you might expect for the next day. And I'll hand this over to Marissa to chat about kayaking.
Yeah, this is would be an amazing opportunity. So these are extra activities that you can participate in while on board. So you've got these sea kayaks in the top right corner, and then you've got these inflatable kayaks on that main photo, and then bottom right corner. So the sea kayaking program, that is something that you can pre-book so that you are actually part of a group of people who will be kayaking throughout the trip on days or mornings or afternoons that is suitable for the time. So the guides will give you more information on that. But basically, it's a pre-booked activity, and it does sell out fast, just so you know. So if you're thinking about it, don't hesitate, because it does sell out fast. The day paddles with these inflatables, they are great because it's a one-time thing, and they're very, very beginner friendly. They're very stable. And so if you just want to go out once, this is the one for you. So it's a day paddles. These also sell out too. And they might have a way to bring people in on the wait list. But the sooner you sign up, you can find out more about it. You can call and speak to someone, maybe Julianne, about it, because that might be an opportunity where you can pre-book on some as well as on board. But I highly recommend it. It's a beautiful experience to see Antarctica from a different perspective on the water. And you're gliding, it's super serene, there's no engine around. You do have a safety boat, a Zodiac, following you. So again, your safety is of paramount importance. So they will always be looking out for you, but they keep a certain distance away so that you can enjoy the serenity while you're kayaking. Hope you experience it. Go for it.
Okay, so I just wanted to talk about our best ever offer that's happening right now. For our November 2024 sailing, we have a limited number of cabins left available at the Ocean Adventurer price. So the original ship that we were on, that those cabins that we have secured in inventory, but now that we are moving to the Ocean Explorer with the new ship, we are still honoring the Ocean Adventurer pricing. So you're getting all the amenities and all of the upgrade that we showed in the beautiful photos at the beginning of the presentation, but with the original price. So now's your time to book. You are getting the best offer ever. I don't even know what that discount is because it's just way too high. So, and then once we sell out, that's it. That's all we've got. And then when we try to get more inventory, because we will request it if you want to get on that ship, then the price may be at the higher Ocean Explorer price. Just putting that out there. Additionally, Quark has their Raise a Glass and Stay Connected campaign right now, which means there is free Wi-Fi on the ship for you at no cost, subject to one device at a time. And as well, additionally, the beer, standard wines, and spirits, as well as cocktails, will be available to all guests at no charge during bar service and dinner as part of their campaign. So there's a little extra perk for you right there. So if you're interested in more information, please contact us and secure your cabin before we sell out. And then we have to request more cabin spaces, and that might be at the higher price.
Wow, that's incredible.
Can't you just picture sitting in the sauna looking out at all the glaciers and
Oh my God.
whale tails?
Actually, we did. So there's a photo. You guys, if you're on, go look at the Facebook page. Look for, I can't remember what hashtag I used. I posted some photos from our trip, and some of us were in the sauna outside, and it was just stunning.
That's wonderful.
Okay, so question time. Deb asks, you mentioned the 2025 dates, November 13th to December 2nd, but didn't see those dates on our website. When will sign up be open for this trip? She plans on signing up in 2025 if she survives our Greenland and Arctic Canada trip in August 2024.
Oh, wonderful. So
Wow.
first of all, we're so glad you're going to the Arctic as well. That's amazing. I love that.
I'm going to be on that trip. Not
Oh.
hosting. I'll be with Adventure Canada.
On Greenland Wild Labrador?
Yeah.
Greenland and Arctic Canada.
Yeah.
Oh, great. Great. Wonderful. I love that trip.
Yeah.
The reason why that trip is not posted on the website yet is because we're just finalizing securing our allotment, and we are going to launch it as soon as it's available, hopefully in the next few weeks. So stay tuned.
Another question from Robin. She emailed these ones in earlier. She's looking for hotel suggestions in BA with shuttle service to the airport in a safe area and close to local life experiences.
Those are great questions. I am partial to two neighborhoods in Buenos Aires. One is called Palermo, and well, the other is San Telmo. And both have really great restaurants. There's some really, really nice hotels in Palermo, and we work with a travel agent. So if you have questions about wanting more information about hotels, then email us and we can connect you with Megan or Zale, who work really closely with us to recommend really excellent hotels in Buenos Aires.
Yeah, I love Buenos Aires. I guess it depends what you want to see and do in Buenos Aires too, though, right? Because, but yeah, I finally went to Palermo. I wish I'd gone sooner.
Yeah, and Palermo is a nice place to stay because it's relatively safe and there's lots
Great walking.
happening, great walking, great restaurants everywhere, and then you can easily hail a cab and go anywhere you want. If you feel safe going on the metro, you can do that as well.
Great. Another question Robin had was, could connecting flights in BA be an issue? How many days would you need in Buenos Aires? 2 days?
Oh, this is tough because personally, I could spend a month in Buenos Aires and still want to spend more time there. And when I go down, I like to give I'm absolutely flummoxed by that long haul flight. So if I could have my best case scenario, I would get on that long haul flight, land in Buenos Aires, and then spend 2 or 3 nights there. If you wanted to spend more nights, like definitely do it because there's just so much to see in Buenos Aires, lots of museums. There's lots there.
I
But
did an Airbnb experience and did a tango lesson, and then they took us to a little tango club to practice what we learned. It was amazing.
That's wonderful. That's totally wonderful. And the other thing would be to spend a few days there and then fly south to Ushuaia. And Ushuaia is Tierra del Fuego. It's such a magical place before you even get to Antarctica. So another thing could be to spend a few days in and around Ushuaia hiking. And they also have really delicious food. The king crab is out of this world, and the lamb is just to die for. So you could also think about adding on some days there as well.
And the hiking, and you can visit the national park, the Tierra del Fuego Park. There's some hikes in there, or you can just do a tour. And yeah, it's beautiful. You'll see the peaks right behind you.
Amazing. Can we get an answer for Sally? What are the options for single rooms?
Mhm.
For Sally. So because we've opted for a smaller vessel for some for just like a smaller, cozier feel and more options for the excursions, you can purchase a single room, but it costs double the price because you'll be buying 2 berths essentially.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, so it's a little limiting for single berths. But we find that the women who have a roommate, we've never really had an issue, and everybody who shares on board usually really gets along and often becomes lifelong friends afterwards. You really meet like-minded individuals. All the Wild Women roommates I've ever had, I'm still very good friends with them. I've had such a positive experience sharing a room.
Mhm.
The other thing that's great about sharing a room is at the end of the day, you get to debrief your day as you're kind of falling asleep, which is nice. I always say that the debrief gives meaning to the experience. So it kind of like solidifies and gives meaning to your day and then the trip as well.
Great.
Sweet dreams of Antarctica.
Maureen asks, why do some excursions go to Antarctica in November and some go in February? What are the pros and cons of each of these months?
Oh, that's such a great question.
That's a good question.
Yes, so the Antarctic season is about 5 months long. It begins at the beginning of November and it runs until the end of March. And Marissa was kind of alluding to this in her description of the wildlife, but depending on when you go, you get to see different things. So if you go in January, for example, or February, you'll see the like lovely fluffy chicks. And what we love about November and why we specifically chose this trip is because we've chose the epic trip to go to the Falkland Islands, South Georgia, and Antarctica. South Georgia in November is such a wonderful time to go because the elephant seals are there for such a short window, and that window is at the beginning of November or in November. So you'll still be able to see the elephant seals, which is such a huge attraction. They're not there in as many, like the elephant seal wiener pups, which are the cutest seal of all time, with the one with those big eyes. They're there. You can potentially, I've been in there in November and seen a baby fur seal be born. Like it's when a lot of the wildlife is returning from the sea and all of the mating and birthing behavior is happening. And you'll always be able to see king penguins on South Georgia, chicks and adults, because they have a quirky mating cycle. They have an 18-month long kind of staggered cycle. So you'll always be able to see king penguins and their chicks. They are permanent residents in South Georgia. So they'll be there no matter when you go. But a great time is November. And then we love Antarctica in November because you're arriving at the beginning of the season. You really get those pristine glaciated landscapes that are just untouched. The landscapes are still beautiful if you choose to go at a different time, but they start to become a little more crevassed and craggy. And I will be honest with you, the longer you wait into the season, the worse it starts to smell. The penguin poop starts to take over. The beginning of the season is so nice because it's very pristine, and you'll get to see penguins returning to their nests, sitting on eggs. You might get to see the beginning of very tiny small chicks, like wee like dumpling-sized chicks. So it's all there. We love November, and other months are great too. It just depends what you want to see. And the thing that we always say too is that going on this expedition is like the ultimate adult scavenger hunt. You never know what you're going to find. So you can go for one thing, but then it's going to be another thing that steals your heart. And every day you go out, you're just keeping your eyes peeled, looking for what's there to discover.
Great. Linda wants to know, how is crossing the Drake Passage, and can we talk about the jackets?
Yeah. Marissa, do you want to answer that one?
Well, the Drake Passage. So it can be called either the Drake Shake or the Drake Lake. And really it's an adventure, it's an expedition, it's all part of it. So when they say the Drake Shake, that's because, maybe the waves are giving it a go and you're riding, but it looks amazing and it's a great ride. And then, or it could be as calm and maybe not as super serene, but it'll be very calm. So you never know what it's going to be. Of course, you can, take a look at the conditions. But actually, how big is this new ship? How big is this one? Do you know,
It's
Franny?
138
Julia?
passengers.
Oh, so is it?
It's a small
Yeah,
ship. Mhm.
yeah. So it'll be fairly similar too. But yeah, I think it'll be fine on this ship actually. Yeah. Just enjoy your coffee out there.
Yeah. And there's also an expedition doctor who is a ER trained
Yes.
doctor on board. So if you are finding that your medication isn't working for
Mm.
whatever reason and you need some extra support, there is an ER doctor, expedition doctor on board to help you. They have they have meds that are injectable. They can take care of you if it gets to be super rough, or not super rough, but if you're feeling super seasick. Yeah.
And there are people who do experience some seasickness, but it doesn't last, and just it'll be worth it if you're hesitant in because of that, because some of the women part of our group did experience it, but you can see in all the photos that they're out there. They're Once you're you've got 3 stops actually. Oh right, because you're going to go through Falklands first, and then South Georgia, and then Antarctica, and then you're going to cross, the Drake there. But the ones in between are fairly okay. Usually, anything can happen though. But like she said, there is a ship doctor on board that can help you out. It always helps to just walk it out, even getting that fresh air, because it's just there's a lot of factors in play. But yeah, I go for it. Don't let that stop you. Any other questions?
Yeah. Can we, oh, sorry. And can we talk about the jackets?
Oh yes,
Oh,
the jackets.
love it.
Everybody on the voyage will get a Quark issued expedition parka. So you can see them in some of the photos we were sharing. They're those bright yellow, vibrant Quark parkas. And what's great about them is they have like a fluffy, not a fluffy, an insulated liner. So you can take the liner out, and there's an insulated liner in there that you can zip out and just wear if you prefer to wear the insulated liner. Of course, you do need to wear the outer shell when you're leaving the ship on the Zodiac. And it also comes with these nifty backpack straps. So if you get
Yeah,
really
that's cool.
hot out on the land, you can take the jacket off and you can hike with it on your back.
Yeah, and just to clarify, that liner is basically like it's a 2-in-1. So this liner is a puffy jacket, really. Like a mid-layer puffy jacket, like your, I don't even know, North Face or whatever. Yeah, so you, like she said, you can wear it on its own, but when you're in the Zodiac, you'd be wearing at least that yellow because it's waterproof. So you have to wear waterproof pants as well as that jacket when you're on Zodiac, and ideally on land as well.
Great.
Nice big pockets too.
We had a question about the avian flu. Can we just talk about the protocols and what's happening right now with the avian flu that's happening?
Yeah. So we do want to say that we're not bird experts. We're not the bird scientists. So the information that we have is not necessarily around the scientific about the science of what's happening, but we can speak to the protocols that are, well, we can speak to that it's affecting the peninsula, and there are measurements being taken to minimize exposure and transmission from site to site. Some of them have been in some of the practices have been in play for a really long time. So for example, you go on every voyage, and every Antarctic voyage, you go through a rigorous biosecurity screening process. So all of your expedition gear is double and triple checked. If you're bringing anything that is hard, for example, your expedition boots, when you wear them, you always Virkon them, which is kind of like it's basically like a really intense bleach for your boots. It just kills any seeds or contaminants, so you're not bringing anything with you onto the continent or from one site to another. And we're also not necessarily, we're not sitting on the ground anymore on the continent. That's one of the effects that has happened. And a few spots in South Georgia have been temporarily closed.
But that can change. So yeah, so there, as when I'm saying about the landing, so whether it's Antarctica or South Georgia, um, so as they're finding new information, because they're scanning it, and they're actually hands on the ground, checking out each landing, and identifying or not identifying, or what's happening there. And so they'll make a decision as to where they can go, where they can't go, and or when it'll be available. So anything can change on a day-to-day basis. But even still, the trip I was on and other trips I've been on, this entire season, it's all been pretty spectacular. The expedition leaders work together with the IATO, as well as the captain and even other ships. They're all working together to provide a great experience for everybody. Yeah, it's unfortunate that it's happened, but from the guides to the guests, from ship to ship, we're all doing our best to take care of the situation and be, protect and do our best to not make it worse. But we also understand that, that we don't want to, we don't want to make it any worse than it is. So, yeah.
Great, thank you. I think we'll end with this last question, maybe on a higher note. Nancy wants to know, is it much colder in November versus February?
That's a good question. So a really cool way to think about it is that the Antarctic season is November to March, and it's the austral summer. So it's the opposite for here. So in November, it's the spring. November is the austral summer spring. So you can have some more windy days. You can have perhaps some more weather in the Drake Passage. And you're coming into those summery days. There can be like really beautiful bluebird sky, sunny days. Saying that, the weather in Antarctica is the most dynamic weather in the world, and it can change in a minute. So even if you're there in January, which is supposed to be the height of the summer, some of the worst weather I've ever experienced has also been in January. It's just the weather in Antarctica is dynamic. But the best thing to prepare for is actually any kind of weather, because whenever you go outside, the weather could change. So we always recommend to bring layers, pack layers with you, and be ready to take off layers, because it could be sunny and all of a sudden you could find yourself in a day that is 15 degrees. You just don't know. It's too hard to predict.
That's true. And I was gonna say too, like when Franny mentioned that the yellow outer jacket has these straps that you'd find many of us having, like being having to take off our yellow jacket and having these backpack straps to carry our jackets while we're hiking along, because we're so warm. It was colder in Ontario than in Antarctica where we were. I think it was like, I think 1 degrees, or but like I said, anything could change. It is an expedition. And a grand one at that.
So on that note, any final thoughts from Franny, yourself, Marissa, yourself, before we end tonight's webinar?
It's just a dream trip. I really, really wish everyone can experience it. You'll just be grinning. Like I'm still grinning.
Yeah, I agree. I think two things feel important for me. One is that South Georgia is the wildlife capital of the world, and there's nowhere else with a density of wildlife like South Georgia. So wherever you are, whenever you are, it's a sensory overload. You'll just be completely in a symphony of wildlife. It's amazing. And then traveling to Antarctica after that, with the quiet and the completely different landscape. The landscape in Antarctica is almost like a different planet, like you're on a moonscape. And it can be really powerful. It can be really powerful to be in a landscape like that, where silence is so profound. You can really connect to yourself and learn about yourself. And I always say the person who you are when you go on this expedition is not the person who returns home. So you'll see a lot and you'll learn a lot about yourself.
Yeah. Lots of happy tears.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Thank you both. Thank you to everyone who attended tonight. We will be sending out the recording, and I did see one more question come through, so we'll put that answer via the email and put it on our website and Facebook page as per request. So thank you everyone for attending, and I hope you all have a great evening, and see you all in Antarctica.
Yeah, bye guys.
Bye. Thanks for coming.